Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Hey, hope you're doing well. Glad to have you all here. Hope y'all all had a great Thanksgiving holiday. I know that we had a great time. We went down to Aransas Pass, Texas, in Ingleside area where I grew up, and spent time with my mom down there. And um, I did a lot of the cooking. Went to my sister's house over in Corpus, and we had fun and play games. I actually didn't even take my laptop, which is kind of a rarity for me. I didn't take my laptop. I'd already worked the week before to get things automated, and email blasts and episodes out, and uh, finish up due diligence in a couple properties and stuff like that. So we're reaching out to the capital raising. But that Tuesday, Wednesday of the Thanksgiving week really becomes a dead time in the business for the most part because everybody's getting ready to celebrate Thanksgiving. They're not going to do anything because they know they got to be out of town or things are going to be closed Thursday, Friday, right? So anyway, went down there, got a little bit of work done on helping my mom, fixed her fence, spent like a half a day doing that. And then we made a bunch of Christmas candy, or I shouldn't say I did. Steph and my mom, my sister made a huge amount of Christmas candy. Um, English toffee and chocolate covered pretzels and all this other stuff that they give away to friends and family, stuff like that. So that was really kind of a fun thing watching the ladies do that, and then just having a good time to kind of relax and enjoy it and rewind. And I know a lot of folks, they look at, okay, let's get through Thanksgiving. Now we're at December 1st as of today. A lot of folks in the note investing aspect, the banking side of things, they okay, let's have a sprint because really you have, if you look at things, you really have 3 weeks left in the year, right? And a lot of people, most people will just kind of, we won't do much the rest of the year. And I'm not a fan of that. Okay. I'm not a fan just like, well, let's not do. Now, I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to not take time off. I will probably not do much the last 10 days of the year from like the 22nd, that week of Christmas, and the last 3 days of the year. I'll plan on being back in the office and rock and rolling on January 2nd, which is a Friday. Okay. Because well, you know what? I'll just say, well, I'll probably be off from the 22nd to the 5th. So I'll take 2 weeks to relax and recharge. But there are things that I will be doing this week. There are things I'll be doing next week to really propel me into the new year. Now, the big mistake that most people make is they don't do anything this month. They're like, oh, I'll get to it next year, or I'll get to it next month when I have to. And that puts you behind the eight ball. If you remember some episodes ago, a few weeks back, we talked about how making 2026 a 14-month year and not just a 12-month year. Okay. And, everybody likes to come up with, what are your New Year resolutions? I'm not a big fan of resolutions. I'm a big fan of goals. And I don't think you can really target more than two, maybe three goals when it comes to health is always a big thing. Income is another big thing. I don't talk about paying off like debt. I talk about making more money. The whole aspect of quantum physics, you get what you put out. Well, I'd rather put out positive. Let's make more income and I'll pay off my credit card debt or whatever you might be versus the other way. I want to pay off my debt. Well, oftentimes if you just focus on that, you accumulate more of it versus going out and making more of it. So that's what I want to talk about is there are some things that you can do that are very effective for you over the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks in planning, prepping, things you can put together. One of the things that I think is that everybody should do, and I think anybody that's on this call right now is put together a pitch deck or working on a pitch deck video. That's one of the most important things you can do. Taking time to update, record your pitch deck, get it on YouTube, but then not just sharing it on YouTube and your website only, posting it to your LinkedIn as one of your major projects or features on there. And then also rebroadcasting that video again and again and again and again. One of my coaches years ago always used to ask me, he goes, Scott, how many offers are you making on a weekly basis? And of course, we as real estate investors say, okay, how many properties am I making offers? No, no, no. How many offers in total, whether it's a class or offers for somebody to invest with you? How many offers are you making on a weekly basis? And I had to think about it a little bit because we make plenty of offers and notes, but I necessarily wasn't going around and making offers all the time about raising capital or offering for people to learn more about my business. Now, you know, people will post YouTube videos and shorts, And if you get a chance to, I highly encourage you to listen to the podcast that I just released last week with Corey Long. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Not me, but just the stuff that he shared on how search is changing business, search is changing entrepreneurship, search is changing how people find and locate you. Okay, and that's the thing that I really wanted to focus on is taking, I did an episode a little bit before about how you have to adapt or change because how AI is changing. That's never been more relevant than what's going on in the world today. You have to be prepared for it. It can't be the same way of doing business as it used to be. You've got to incorporate some things like that. And it also means making multiple offers to get stuff out. So one of the number one things that you'll probably see from us doing on a regular basis is my own pitch deck going out on a regular basis, broadcasting once, twice a week, using Restream to even rebroadcast it probably 2, 3 times in a row, but mixing in a deal, case study offer that we're working on as a way to drive more engagement to our website. You also see us broadcasting that across Facebook, LinkedIn. And that's the more eyes you're in front of people, more times you're in front of, I'm sorry, the more eyes that see your stuff, the more opportunity to be for raising cap or people directing to you. I think I've been guilty like anybody. So I'm gonna record it, throw it up once, and I might send an email blast out about to it, which is great. But that whole rinse and repeat, it really came in handy. Anytime we've done it, we've seen it go up. So it's one thing I would highly recommend, easy enough for all of you to do. Even if you just go upload the video back into YouTube, you go make the first one silent or something like that, quiet on your thing, but then rebroadcast it, re-email it out to it, literally put it in a email campaign that goes out, you know, once every 2 weeks, at least once a week. Some people say, well, once a week, that's can be kind of exceedingly well. If you put it in there where you're putting something in there about, hey, here's what we're doing, or hey, we're going to the local real estate club, or hey, here's the deal we're going, and you have your pitch deck down below there about what we do is like your footer advertising. That's what I'm getting at. It's an offer below your main, hey, here's what we're doing on our weekly in and out email. Something to think about because you never know who's going to see it on your email database. And as your email database grows, it's a subtle, here's an offer, an offering to invest with us, an offering to put your money to work in our deals. Okay. That's one big thing. Sharing your pitch deck, either even at the email footer. Check out what we're doing at We Close Notes. So check out what we're doing, at Notes for You. Okay. Clear Bay Capital. What are we doing at Clear Bay? Just putting that somewhere where people click on it and it starts to see that. It's a really great evergreen thing to do. A second thing is this is one thing that we really dive in and always helps us throughout the year. Okay. And I know some of you are like, oh, I don't want to do that, but you probably should think about doing this. Okay. Because as a podcaster, now I'm not going to tell you to go out and start your own podcast. Okay. You can do that if you want, but an easy way to raise capital or to get in front of people speaking, because that's one thing that you need to look at doing, is get in front of audiences, whether it's your local RIA club, virtual RIA clubs, or something like that. Get out networking. The way that we have done it, that we found, which was so much more effective for us. Okay, and I've doubled and tripled down on this. You don't have to triple down on it, but I want to give you some statistics out there, and you'll understand the power of this. Okay. So there's about 4 million total podcasts out there, sometimes 5 million. There's different numbers out there, okay? But here's the number that you have to keep in mind, 10%, okay? Now, if there's 4 million active podcasts out there, only 10%, roughly about 400,000, are delivering a new episode once a month, okay? But the amount of listeners is inverse to that relationship. So while the number of podcasts have dropped, the amount of listeners has exponentially grown, where it would go from people listening to 2 to 3 episodes or 2 to 3 shows a week. It's down to 7, 8 shows a week. And another thing about podcasts that are different is that the retention rate is so much higher. I didn't know this till somebody told me this, right? A Facebook post to Facebook might have a 5 to 10 minute retention. It means people might watch it 5 or 10 minutes and they go off. They're going to keep scrolling to something else. Same thing on Instagram, TikTok. It's all in the scroll on the social media stuff. So you might have 1% retention aspect of where somebody's going to go through start to finish. Okay. If you can get a 50% retention rate, that's phenomenal. A lot of our videos have a 30 to 50% retention rate because we crank good stuff out, right? Newsletters do pretty well. Newsletters, well, people will read. Once they get on subscribe to your newsletter, they'll read it. And if it's a less than 10-minute read, preferably 5 minutes or less, which is ideal for you, it's about 4,000 words or so. I'm sorry, it's about 2,000 words. Sorry, 2,000 characters, not words. That makes it easy read for in like 6 to 10 minutes. That's got a pretty good retention rate. YouTube videos have about 11% attention rate, where people will go through it about a tenth of the time before they either stay or they go, right? And that's long form. That's not short form content under 3 minutes, just so you know this. Podcasts, though, okay? And short video, 24 to 48 hours. Longer form video, 30 to 90 days. Facebook posts, 24 to 48 hours, as far as how they stay around, right? Okay. And they just get buried, right? Podcast episodes. Here's the thing that blew me away years ago was that podcasts have an 80 to 90% completion rate if they get beyond the first 5 to 10 minutes. But once somebody listens in, they're listening to you almost the entire way through, whether it's an hour long or a 20-minute long thing. People are listening. Okay. And listenership is going up, completion is going down. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and start a podcast. I'm talking to you about taking your guys' experience. All of you have experience, whether it's being a fix and flipper in the past, or a real estate investor, or a realtor, or you've done some creative financing, you've done some deals, whatever it is. If you've done any type of deals and you have a focus, rely on that focus. Okay. Now, what I mean by that? Well, there's a cool thing that I like to use to find myself speaking opportunities. Now, I don't go out to the Distressed Mortgage Expo. I don't go out to Noteworthy. I mean, I've been to those when they were bigger. They're much smaller now. And everybody that's there, I already have my database. I want to get myself in front of new eyeballs and new earballs, as they say. Okay. And this is actually a very easy strategy to do. So I'm not trying to add work to your stuff. I'm trying to add opportunities to it, okay? With little work, very little work. Something that you could put a VA on to help you in a variety of fashion, right? And I can give you a few examples. Like Catherine Bell is one of our coaching students. She's made over 6 figures in the note business with us. Actually made over 6 figures in one just note deal with us. But has made a couple, I don't know, up to $500,000 or something like that or more in the last few years. But she started leveraging this strategy to get herself on speaking opportunities as a woman real estate investor, and has raised a couple $1 million in private capital, just talking about some of the deals that she's focused on, some of the deals that she's done, some of the deals. She doesn't have her own show, not as of yet. I know that she was thinking about doing it, but she just has gotten out and used it to get in front of crowds, get in front of stages. And that's the way I look at when I appear on somebody else's podcast. I look at it as a stage. Okay. And I'm glad to have you guys here in Zoom, stuff like that. I'm glad to have you guys on my podcast talk about you. Of course, if you're a one-on-one coaching student, I expect you to be on my show because I want to help promote you. I want to talk about your good, the bad, and the ugly. Sterling James, we did a case study on his deal down in Florida, about 1,000 to 2,000 downloads. His interview also did very, very well, talking about how he's a CPA full-time, still working part-time, and he's a real estate investor, but doing some great things and loves why he loves the note business. Done well. He's getting phone calls. Cal Ewan's getting people calling him off of stuff and wanting to invest with him by listening to him on my show. Now, does that take away from people wanting to invest with me? No, because if those people were wanting to invest with me, they would have already reached out, right? But it adds value to your guys' bottom line, and I'm fine with that because it adds credibility on both sides. So when somebody's listening on a podcast, guess what? It increases your credibility. If you're speaking on somebody else's stage, it adds credibility. So how does this all tie in with the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks of the year? Okay. Here's a thing that I said about myself. I set a goal for myself, not a resolution, a goal a couple years ago. And I've done this. Let's see here. I just celebrated my 9-year anniversary of having the Note Closer show, which is crazy to think about that. Like November 21st, 20th or 21st was the first time we broadcasted a Facebook Live back in the day. And it's one of the most powerful strategies we've ever done to do it. And you guys can all do the same thing. Is just don't have to look about coming up with new content. That's what I'm trying to get at here with you guys, is you can literally take your experience, your case study, stuff that you're already doing, and use it to rinse and repeat, to clone that content across different things. So let me share with you. So Like I set a goal 5 years ago, hard to believe. No, no, yeah, it was 6 years ago. So I've done it 5 out of 6 years. Is I wanted to be, I said, let me be on at least one podcast per week for the year. So I wanted to hit like 50 to 50. I want to be on 50 new podcasts every year. And I did that. One year I did 150 episodes on other people's shows. And then most of the time, it's been 50 to 100, somewhere around that on an annual basis. Usually 100. That's twice a week. Pretty simple to do. It's so simple how we do this that you guys would be like, oh my God, this is stupidly simple. Now, let me just share this with you. This is one strike, and it'll work for a variety of reasons for you on different ways where you do it. So let me go over here. All right, so we're gonna go to where is it here? I just had it pulled up. Let me go. Oh, I know what I gotta do. I gotta click over here. Okay, now let's do this. All right, share screen. So there's this service called Listen Notes. Okay. Now, Listen Notes is started by a buddy of mine, Andrew Wang. I met him a few years ago at FinCon. And what he does is he created this basically podcast scraper. Okay. And if you go to listennotes.com, and everybody it's on here right now, live on Zoom. I don't know about you guys that are watching the replay or watching live on YouTube, but those of you that are in the WCN crew that are closing deals or doing other things, this is something that you should all very, very much consider. And it'd be one of the best ways to get the word out on what you're doing. Okay. So listen notes, it's like this in script. So you can type in it's a podcast search engine. Okay. So if I want to do this, let's type in here. I want to find out real estate investing podcasts. That's what I want to search for. Okay. And I'm not going to look for episodes because that'll be thousands. I'm going to click on podcasts. And there you go. It's going to start listing all basically 2,400 real estate investing podcasts. Now that's changed. That used to be like 5,000 back in the day. Okay. Now you can also filter. And for us, we probably want it to be in the United States. Okay. We want to change. You can tweak a few of these things, any region. Let's just say United States. Unless you want to go on an Afghanistan real estate investing podcast, I don't think you're going to have a lot of listeners. Okay. Because the United States leads the way. All right, so we're just saying United States. And latest episode published day, we want to say the last 90 days. Or past monthly thing. Okay, so we'll hit apply filters. Now, this is going to give, by 2 day, you're going to get a 2-day download of it. But anyway, if we go back here after 2 days, like $98, I can download all the information in 2 days that I want to, which means it's going to, I can find all the shows that I want to. I can make a list and check it twice, give that to a VA. Tell the VA to reach out to these shows. Hey, are you looking for guests? Here's what I would love to come on your show and add value to your audience. This is one thing. All right. Very, very simple thing for you to do. I see that you guys do stuff on real estate investing. I'm a real estate investor, or I'm a realtor turned real estate investor. I'm focused on creative deals. I've got a couple of deals where I made 6 figures on a creative financing deal, or I'm gonna make 50 grand on a non-performing note turned performing note, or I bought this deal where I'm going to do this and that, or I've done this fix and flip in the past. Didn't know if you're looking for people to just come on and talk about cases. Because here's the thing. There are professional podcasters. That's all they do is professional podcasting. But professional podcasters love getting real world people like you guys on to talk about your case studies or deals. We're looking for that. We're looking for people to come on and share their stories. Doesn't matter where you're located a lot of times. So as long as the podcast is the correct stage for you, these are ideal things for you to do. So like Kevin Bupp, I've been on his show, great guy. I wouldn't worry so much about the 0.5%. I mean, that's kind of an algorithm thing that they do, but there's some bigger names. Like if you guys, one of our students got on the Bigger Pockets podcast a couple years ago and raised about $500,000 or $1 million in the first week from it. Okay. Marco Santarelli, real estate investing. That one might not be so good anymore. Marco's in a little bit of trouble. But what you can do is just go through this and adjust it. Like Matt Thoralt, Epic Real Estate, known Matt for years. Kathy Fetke is probably going to do most of her stuff. But what I'm trying to get at is that there are so many of these shows, you could literally go through and start connecting with them. Okay, I gotta log into this. But anyway, that's what I'm getting at, is all you have to do is make a list. It's going to give you a contact or a website. And what we want to see is something called a media one sheet. Okay. A media one sheet is a headshot, okay? Who you are and what you want to talk about. Maybe 3 or 4 bullet points. Hey, I'm an expert in creative financing, or we want to talk about our case study. One thing that I did is I create my one sheet. And if you go Google, create me a media one sheet, it's pretty easy to do. It's like taking your about you part of your LinkedIn, which you guys should have from working with already, with me on that stuff, and your executive summary. And that's basically what you're saying. Hey, I'd love to be a guest on your show. I think would add value to our audience, talk about creative financing or note investing or whatever it is, subject to whatever, tiddlywinks. There's a tiddlywink podcast out there for you. But when you think about it, that the average podcast, it varies. If it's been around for a while, it's probably going to see 500 to 1,000 downloads on it. Okay. We cranked out, we're right just underneath 14,000 downloads on the No Closure Show podcast this month, just this month alone. Okay, 14,000. That's like 14,000 years. Now, if I figure that we cranked out 12 episodes, so it's about 1,200 listeners per episode, new episode. Yes, we had some people listen to the back stuff, but that's the kind of the algorithmic numbers that we look at and figure, and that's what we shoot for. We want to see above 1,000 episodes. Now, some had more, some had less. Okay, all the interviews about investing does really, really well. Okay. This episode may not do so well because it's not about the nuts and bolts aspect of it, of investing or case study. Case studies always go through the roof. All right. So, like Colin, the deal in North Carolina that you have is a great case study to talk about. All the things you learned from buying your first no deal. Love to have you on. Doesn't mean I won't have you on later on. I will. Judy, your creative financing with the 3 paydays is a great deal to talk about. Great case study just to go through the numbers and how you found it and how you negotiated and the time frame on it. John, the deal that you're working on in Houston right now, that reverse mortgage can be a great case study to talk about. Love to have you on to talk about that, what you found in the deal. And so that's the thing. People like to hear about that stuff because it's real world deals and people taking action, and people want to surround themselves with action takers. So you take this list of podcasts, you give it to your VA, and you have them send out your media one sheet about what you'd like to talk about, case study, a simple paragraph or two. Hey, I think I might be a great guest for your show, to add value because I'm just a normal investor. I'm not trying to sell a class or a workshop, just talking about a deal that we closed on I'd love to share. People will listen to that show, and then you got to have a call to action. The call to action of your episode is going to be, if you're wanting to do some more deals, I'd love to talk about deals, book a phone call with me, talk with Judy, talk with Colin.com, talk with John.com, whatever that is. That Calendly link is something that you want to share, usually a vanity link. That's why we have talkwithscottcarson.com, because I didn't want to give things out. Calendly.com / all this stuff. I want to make it very simple for people to connect with me. So talkwithjudyrichard.com, talkwithcolinwhitneck.com, that kind of stuff. So, and the reason I tell you this is because over the holidays, I had a wide receiver who's been out of the league for a year reach out to me from the NFL. Guy played 4 years or 5 years with the Raiders. Won a couple national championships at Clemson University back a few years back. Guy I followed for a year. First, I thought it was a fake profile, which you'll see it from time to time. No, it's actual profile. We exchanged text messages and I have a phone call with him this afternoon about that. He's wanted to dive into it. Came from listening to on a podcast with me on somebody else's show. So that's the thing, is if you're talking on somebody else's podcast, even if they have 100 people downloads or even 10 downloads, that's still 10 people your message is getting out in front of, that you're not having to go do yourself. You do it once with a guest, and it's something that lives into infinity and beyond, as long as the show's been around. And this is like why I say it's one of the best ways for you guys to raise capital and get your word out on what you're doing to other audiences. And you don't have to wait till everything is perfect. That's the I got to wait till everything's perfect. Screw that. Get out there, talk to people. Hey, here's what I'm focused on. Here's my biggest lessons learned. Um, how I made 6 figures on my first deal, or how I'm going to make, how I lost 10 grand on my first deal. There's even a deal podcast on was my worst investment ever. Did really, really well. Okay. These shows really add value to you because it builds rapport. Judy always laughs at me while I'm laughing on my podcast because she's gotten to know me. We build rapport that way. I met her before that, obviously, but what I'm trying to get at is you guys can use this same tool, and it not only is it something that you can promote, you can add to your database that adds your credibility. the people that are hosting the podcast, they'll post it and blast you, and it adds credibility to you. So it's like a double barrel shotgun where you've only got to just show up. Okay. And that's what I'm saying is if you can be on one podcast a month, it's an hour out of your time. Let's just say an hour of your time once a month. You've got multiple hours. You could do it once a week to squeeze something in there because most of these guests will have a calendar. You pick a time that works best for you, a booking time that works best. If it doesn't work, then you schedule something else out of it. And that's why I'm saying that this is a way for you to fill in maybe your gaps in your schedules of what should I do to get the word out and what you're doing. And then that audio, that transcript, that stuff is some of the most highly sought after search stuff that AI is pulling off of Gemini and Bing and things like that for you when it comes to searching for characters, and it can create credibility for you. Now you're a credible factor because you've been on 5 podcasts, 10 podcasts, 20 podcasts. Okay. And that's all pretty simple. Like listen notes. If I go back here, like if I'm going to, I'm going to log in here. Continue with Scott. And I've done this, let's see, buy a 2-day access for a small fee. Yep. Let's do this real fast. And 13, yeah. So basically, super search, $13 a day. Yeah, so basically, you get unlimited queries per day. You see the podcast email. Let me share this with you because this is one of the most valuable things I think you guys can see. It's pretty stupidly cheap to do. And why you wouldn't do it, I don't know. Like if you could have yourself booked on, how many of you would say no to speaking on 50 different stages? You wouldn't say no. You say yes. How do I do it? Right? What do I need to talk about? Whether it's 30 minutes or an hour, all of you are capable of that. I know that. So coming over here, customized premium features, super search, $13 a day, unlimited queries, advanced search filters. See the podcast email. That's the most powerful thing. Complete list of similar podcasts. See all podcasts and classified ads. View unlimited RSS feeds. No ads for build monthly, annual. So how many members in this premium membership? Just one. I don't need 2. I just need 1. Oh, well, okay. Well, so maybe I just do it 1 day. So buy 2-day access. Here we go for $27. There you go. $13.80 a day. And now I can go search these 2,000 plus podcasts to find 50 shows, 100 new shows, because there's our new podcasts being created that are available for it. And that's, and I'm not going to, part of that trending with shows going away is one of the reasons that we actually started the new whole How to Invest in Texas Real Estate podcast. When I hit my 1,000th episode of the Note Closer Show, I started looking at local in our top 50 markets for shows that were around that, hey, maybe I could reach out and be on and talk about their market or talk about what we're seeing in the note investing space in those areas, which is what we do, one of the things that we do. And we were seeing shows left and right that were around for a year or 2, 3 years, 4 years, have gone away. They stopped producing it. A lot of them were doing it during COVID, which is fine because they had time in their hand. But we saw a huge opportunity, especially here in the Lone Star State, where a lot of local shows were just gone. And that's why we've already started seeing success with zero advertising on the How to Invest in Texas Real Estate, How to Invest in San Antonio, How to Invest in Corpus. We launched 7 podcasts at one time a month, 5 weeks ago. Okay. And we'll keep doing that as well. We have a little bit more of a streamlined thing, but I'm not telling you to do that. What I'm simply telling you that there's the opportunity out there that other people are not feeling. Most people are listening to the Betty and Bob Blue Hairs, the older folks out there, and there is an older generation of real estate investors out there that are still trying to market their business the same way as old thing, whether it's through Facebook ads that are going through the roof with lower returns, postcards, which are costing a lot and get a very 1 to 4% response rates, not smart. I like to work that evergreen aspect, and I think this is one of the better ways for you to do that. Now, obviously, I think another thing you guys can do is go to Vistaprint, get some Christmas cards printed out, okay? And, write something on the back like we hope, well, let's see this a little. We hope your 2024 was an amazing year. I might cross that and say 2025. Might be as a comical thing to send out to them. Or take a sticker over it. Yeah, that's what I do. Put a sticker over it. And that's something we'll send out. You can recycle some of these things if you need to. It's the thought that counts of getting the word out to people. And that's one thing you can be doing. Your postcards, vistaprint.com. Sending a postcard to a list of IRA investors, like who the heck is this person? Thanks for investing with us. Or looking forward to you investing with us in the new year. That would be a baller play. The huevos on that person says, hey, looking forward to investing with you in 2026. Huh? If you got a postcard to mail, somebody said, like, who is this guy? What the heck is this? I need to find this out. Let me go to his website on here. Oh, this is what he does. You know, I'm all about like pattern disrupt. Okay, shock and awe. You know, this is why maybe I'll send an email out. I haven't sent out. Like, get more ass in 2026, more assistant strategy and support. That's probably what I'll do this week. Is send that email because it always does well. Always does well, and it always gives good people a good laugh about it. But what I'm getting at, ladies and gentlemen, is you have to start thinking differently. Don't let the next 3 weeks just kind of fade into it. Yes, go to your Christmas parties. Go collect business cards. Go talk to people. You know, one of the biggest things that you can do is plant those seeds. And I'm not telling you just to go, that's all you're going to do. So I'm going to go raise capital. No, go network with people. You know, get out and go meet people in person at the local RIAs, do a BNI, you know, search, go network for BNI if you have nothing else going on in your area. I know most of you do have stuff going on, but if you're feeling like there's nothing to do, go to a morning BNI, go to an afternoon BNI, find out your local RIA club when they're meeting. You know, when's the Christmas party? What's going on with it? You know, like I know one that I'm going to, Dealmaker Live here in Central Texas is all becoming your favorite gap. So I'm putting on my Chicago Blackhawks, my Griswold hockey jersey, and wearing a Chicago Bears cap, and going to the game dressed as like Chuck, Griswold from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, just showing up like that and having a good laugh and talking with people and just connecting with people. And that's the thing that is so great about these next 3-4 weeks is the connections. Most people are usually in their best behavior unless they're out shopping, then they're in misery. And with everything going online, getting out and networking and talking with people, seeing the opportunity, going out locally and getting things done, this can be very aspect, make your January, your February, your March even more successful, because that's when people are going to start getting their, middle of January, they get their statement from the retirement accounts, their 401k, and their credit card. I'm like, oh shit, what did I spend on Christmas this year? What do I need to do to better? Oh crap, my 401k didn't do very well. What can I do differently? And that's why you go find the stuff out now where those real estate clubs are going, and then mark those on your calendar. Attend January, February, March, at least those 3 months. If you go those 3 months and you network with people and you grab business cards and you email them out to your database, hey, here's what we're doing, here's what we're going on, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, you will be successful, and you can avoid the turkey hangover that most people take in December. And you'll be surprised at how these little things add to credibility and help your marketing all in the next year. And for somebody who's been marketing differently than most people for over 10 years now, trust me, this is how we stand out, how we do it with a very small team, but we look huge. It's just doing a couple things. So go out. Trust me, all of you are smart. All of you don't have to have all your shit together. Nobody really has all their shit together. There's always something going on, no matter who you are. I'm telling you that right now, ladies and gentlemen, is that you have the opportunity that most people are not using. It just takes a little bit of time. Maybe it costs you $28 to pull a list that you download and dive into and go from there. Can be a very valuable thing for you to do in now to the end of the year. Because you can sit at home while you're watching TV and scheduling these things or sending an email blast out. If you download a list and do a drip marketing campaign with an email blast that, hey, I saw that you've got a podcast, I've listened to your podcast, go listen to an episode of the podcast, stuff like that. And say, I'd love to be on your show. And like I said, those of you guys that are on here in the WC and crew and their coaching calls, I'd love to have you on here. I'd love to record an episode before the end of the year with you and get that word out for you. All right. So any questions, any comments, any concerns from you guys as you guys are rocking and rolling along here? I know it's been a crazy year. 2026 will be even crazier, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you right now, the numbers, the stats, the increasing amount of foreclosures, there's so much opportunity. You just have to leverage it and be prepared to leverage it with things that work for you, that are evergreen. Rinse and repeat, doing the similar things that most people are not. Most people aren't sending email blast out to the database. Most people aren't posting on a regular basis. Most people sure as heck aren't getting on a podcast on a regular basis. And this is a tool, can be a secret weapon, a super samurai strategy to help you stand out from everybody else. Because then it becomes something you can say, I was on so-and-so's podcast. I was on these 10 podcasts last week or whatever. It can fill the dead space with good stuff. And trust me, it works. That's why our podcast is our number one lead gen when it comes not only to finding deals, but raising capital and growing our database, because it's just, I'm on stages. I'm on my stage, but I'm on other people else's stages as well. And that's what we try to be on one show at least per week, preferably two or more, to add to our credibility list. And you guys can grow your credibility. You're not competing. I don't look at it as competition. Okay. I look at it as working together, rowing in the same direction. And this is why Eddie Speed likes to say Scott Carson students, they know how to close deals, they know how to market, and they know how to raise capital. You guys go do the same thing. All right. You can go out, kick some ass, take some name. I mean, take some names, kick some ass. And if you have questions or want me to talk with you a little bit more about your strategy or what you would talk about, feel free. Book a phone call, talk with scottcarson.com. Glad to spend 30 minutes with you, picking your brain and coming up with a strategy that helps you really succeed in 2026 with using this as a different alternative marketing tactic that will save you a ton of money, but grow your credibility exponentially. All right. Go take some action, everybody. And we will see you at the top.